I was thinking, made up job.
I think
I
so.
love that. I love that color.
Yeah, they went over to the reeds and had a little bladder, about the color, and, yeah. Yeah, it's been a real team effort, and a lot of people were involved, have been involved for this, that, and the other thing, there's just like a project like that, there's a lot to do. A lot to learn. So next is heat and air conditioning.
Well, that's important.
Yeah, and also solar. We're going to put solar panels up there. Yeah. So, hey Mary Jane.
I like it.
Yeah,
I think that'll make a big difference.
I do too.
I don't know if it'll make a bigger difference in some way or what, because they're not.
Well, I think it
I mean, I know some people can't work in summer because it's just so hot.
will.
Because of health reasons.
Well, I think our attendance will go up.
But I thought this summer, even with all that, we had a great summer.
Oh, our summer attendance was fantastic. That'll go.
So in the winter, if it's too cold.
Well, that's the other thing,
Yeah.
we'll be able to
Yeah.
we'll be able to have decent heat and air
And we
conditioning.
won't have to worry about
The
getting
ceilings
sleep
is so
done.
high though.
That's why we have the drives it down.
That pushes it down. If we maybe
Sounds like we need to be close to hear each other here.
I'm sorry about that. They'll be done in about an hour.
High up on that roof is very brave. I mean, the roof is so pitched.
It's really dangerous work. Yeah.
I can't even watch people
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, some of those guys
On
get tied
this,
with
on this
ropes.
kind of roof where it goes like that,
Yeah.
they must use a rope or something.
They do
They're-
sometimes, especially if
they're-
it's raining. 'Cause that is really slippery.
This is in my room.
I have a mic. I hope you can
Or take your own.
hear. Those of you who are home, I'm sorry, but we're banging on the
I
roof.
just figured we'd back there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Hey, everyone.
Right here,
Okay.
I didn't get it on my, I didn't get the Bible study, I couldn't be here last week, so where did we leave off?
Second part.
Second part?
I read the third and the fourth.
I want to go back and get the other.
Yeah, we're done with chapter 2, aren't we?
Confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finished.
I
So-
don't think I can comment with either of them.
I can't go to you next week.
I hear knocking.
What?
I hear knocking. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I used to
Tell them, come on
make
in.
appointments for Wednesdays when we had Bible studies.
I'm
I
sorry.
did
I'm
too.
sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about appointments.
Yeah, that was my problem.
I forgot completely.
Why did we move that? I can't remember where we moved it.
Well, there's the exercise class.
That's why.
Tuesday mornings
That's
at
why.
11,
That's
so.
That's why.
Why was it moved to Wednesday?
It was an exercise class on Tuesday.
Oh,
Because what happened on Tuesday?
okay.
The exercise
The
class
exercise
is on
class moved
Tuesday.
from Monday to
The
Tuesday.
chair
So we
yoga.
moved
That's why.
Tuesday to Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do the best we can.
Yeah. Well, there's just a lot going on. It's a busy, it's a, I don't know if it's busy church, but it's a full. Just,
I'm over saying, what? What?
no, I'm sorry. I'm doing this for you at home, so you're on our mind. Just so you know, too, the new wing, the new half of the that's going to be taken off as well.
On
We're-
the
we're-
side.
We're, the roof, yeah, we made that, we're making that decision as we, this is shot. You know, we were up on the roof, these guys were, it's absolutely shot. So, we're gonna match it with, that machinery is really important, yeah, and very, very expensive to operate. So, yeah, we thought, let's just do it, bite the bullet and do it, and we'll still be around 350.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
other things have changed, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We're working it. We're trying.
Would it be quieter in the library?
It would be, but then we can't, our friends at home can't.
Are they gonna hear us at this point?
Well, I don't know, they'll probably hear us better than we're gonna hear each other. I kept thinking that they might be done by the time we started, but they're gonna be done in about an hour on this side.
Just in
I
time.
was watching them, see if maybe we'd luck out. Well, let's see how we do, right? And if it's impossible, we'll move. So Ruth, chapter 3. Can someone kind of summarize too what's going on? Ruth is in is what? Ruth, why don't you tell us what Ruth is doing?
Yeah. Good idea.
Chapter 2, last, where's that? Okay, so, she has followed Naomi to Naomi's place of residence, and she is gleaning in the field, taking up the little pieces that are left, and Boaz, Naomi's relative, gets a look at her and is taken with her. So he tells his reapers even to leave a little bit extra for her, and he tells her to be not at all afraid of the man in the field. That might be interesting. He cares for her and protects her. Trying to see what's going on at the end.
What do we know about Boaz so far?
He's rich. He's rich. He owns these
Money.
fields. He's got servants.
People working with him?
He's an older man.
He's older too, yeah.
And so he's not married.
He's not married.
Isn't that odd?
Very.
I mean, it's possible he was married and widowed, right?
Yeah, but they don't say that.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to have any sons.
Mm-mm. Yeah, interesting little situation. There are a lot of interesting little situations in this book, right? So everybody's, in Bethlehem. This is happening in Bethlehem, right? So I would imagine in Bethlehem there was a lot of sounds like this. Yeah, there's some kind of unusual interconnections and timing. Wouldn't you say? You've got all these sort of unrelated things going on that keep getting closer and closer and closer. In Bethlehem, will we see that again? Bethlehem.
And does this have a lot to do, because he is a part of her husband's family? Does this have to do with their expecting the husband's
levirate marriage.
A
it's called.
levirate?
Levirate.
What's that?
That means if your brother's if your brother dies, you marry his wife. You bring her into your household.
That's an
And take
obligation.
care of them.
Levirate. A levirate marriage.
Yeah.
Is that within L?
Levirate. Yeah.
Probably because he would have, in fact, he used that as means of taking her, I think. Or,
Yes.
You know.
We'll find that out. We'll find that out. You know, with a levirate marriage, the closest one in the family, you know, how they determine that would be the one to do it.
There must be a step after.
That's right. That's right.
This woman and takes care of.
That's right, because we're going to find out later in the story, that there's another person that should take
Yeah.
Ruth. And then they have a little chat,
Yeah.
right? And you know,
This gets interesting.
right? I mean, it is interesting. It's an interesting little story. I told you, there's so much in there.
And Naomi is sort of, you know, she's arrangeable.
Well, she's good. Yeah, we're going to see more of that
But
now.
she wants a grandson, or, you know,
No family.
Naomi has no family.
Right.
None.
None. Yep.
And so what her husband and she owned, in order to keep that in his name or,
I didn't hear that first part.
no, whatever Naomi and her husband would have owned or their family would have owned would be theirs.
I think so.
And she wants an heir, I would think, she would want an heir to that, to pass on.
Yeah, well, I think maybe that's going on, but also she definitely wants an umbrella. You know what I mean? People need to be covered. Women need to be covered.
She wants somebody to take care of her.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You know, you're going to be part of the extended family. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay.
You know, women didn't have a lot of rights back in those times, so.
No.
Only a little better now.
Well, and it's
Well.
heading backwards. Oh, my goodness.
You know, it's like, well, you know, yeah. Yeah, let's make America great again. And we're thinking of actually 2000 BC. Way back. Let's go way, way, way back.
It was really great back
It was
then.
fabulous. All right. So that's a nice little summary. Appreciate that.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you.
Sure.
I'm caught up now.
Yeah, sure. So let's take a look at 3, right? 3, 1 through 5. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. Anybody want to read that?
Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, I need to seek some security for you, so that it may be well with you. Now, here is our kinsman Boaz, with whose young women you have been working. See, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Now wash and anoint yourself and put on your best clothes and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, observe the place where he lies. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down, and he will tell you what to do." She said to her, "All that you tell me, I will do."
She was a rather seductive woman, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
A little plan was brewing in her head.
This is how you do it.
And this was not written during Victorian England. No. Yeah, well,
Yeah, what's the meaning of those feet?
Yeah.
I know what the meaning is.
Are you gonna tell us, because none of us know?
Well, I'll tell you a different one, then you can go to this one in your imagination. When, you know, often in the Old Testament, a covenant will be made with two men, you know, contract. And what they say in the Old Testament is that they grab each other's thighs, you know, to seal the covenant. They're not grabbing each other's thighs. No.
That sounds like somebody else I know.
Anyone from around here?
Well, yes, as
Yeah.
a matter of fact, I think he is.
Is he?
From around here, not far.
Well, Helen, for the love of God and all things holy,
What are you, who are you referring to?
What?
The orange Jesus or not?
Oh, you
the
know.
orange Jesus. Well, why would
You
you?
know who goes around grabbing thighs.
Yeah. Well, that's an alternative way of doing it. Back in the Old Testament, it was men to men, right? And here, you know, it was like the word capiche usually was said after the.
That means understand.
Right. I mean, understand. This is what we're going to do, right?
Yeah.
And they both did it, and I mean that was fair practice back in the day, and that's what they did.
Interesting though, isn't it?
Yeah, things. I mean, you know, you don't need attorneys to do this, you know. And then there's a matter of like cutting. I've talked about it from the pulpit too. Cutting a covenant. Do you know that term? Cutting a covenant. This is all to say that the Old Testament is. Oops. I was going to answer, but I don't talk to you.
Did cutting a covenant have to do with their with the lamb?
Yeah, or animal parts.
See, they cut a covenant by
That's right. You depend,
slaying the lamb.
or an animal,
Certain
an
ways.
animal that would fairly represent the weightiness of the covenant or the contract. So if it's a big contract, you're going to use a bull. You know, if it's a little tiny covenant, you use a little bird, and you know, in between, you know, and everything in between, depending on how serious and extensive that covenant would be. And the famous one. And the idea is that, you know, you cut the animal like that, that way, right? And
What do you call it when you do a chicken that way?
butterfly.
What is it?
Yeah,
Butterfly.
exactly.
I thought there was another.
Exactly.
Spatula.
No, yeah, maybe that's.
Well, and so the idea, so you butterfly. Okay, that's a good way to put it. I'm going to kill myself.
They're censoring.
He's cutting a covenant.
So you fillet this thing, right? You butterfly this thing, whatever it happens to be. The idea is that you come to an agreement about the covenant or the contract, as you want to call it. They're both the same. And what you do is the two parties walk through the gore together.
That's
Right? They walk through the gore together. And what it means is, if I don't hold up my end of the bargain, you can do this to me. Cutting a covenant. So there's a famous dream in Genesis with Abraham. He has this dream about covenant, cutting a covenant. And what he dreams is that there's like a flesh pot. There's there's a, what would you call it, like a candle kind of thing, in a, whatnot, a
globe?
yeah, a lantern. Dreams, right? And in his dream, this is all, gore is everywhere. And only the lantern goes through the gore. He doesn't go through himself. Meaning, God goes through, saying, if I don't hold up my end of the covenant, this is what you can do to me. But you don't have to do it. I'll take responsibility for this. So this is one of the, yeah.
That's why we kept moving about it.
And this is, we have there are many precursors to the New Testament, what we would claim, the Christians would claim in the New Testament. What I've said before is the Old Testament is, in my view, like a coal mine, and there's a vein of gold going through it. Meaning, what's in the New Testament is already kind of presaged, it's already anticipated. Not all of it, but there's this line of gold that runs through it, and that the idea of Abraham and cutting a covenant with God is definitely one example where we're going to see that in Jesus, right? Jesus is sacrificed, so we don't have to be sacrificed. It's being replayed in real time, not in a dream, but in real time. And the Old Testament is looking that way. For Christians, now, Jewish believers will not agree with this at all. Christians say, seeing the line through. Okay? So in this case, she's going to uncover his feet. Now you can go in your imagination as far as you want to go, and you'd probably be right. It doesn't have anything to do with his feet.
So is that a way of compromising her, that forces him? Huh?
Coercion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if you live in a certain part of Friesland in the Netherlands, in a farming community, the Blackstockings, you must sleep with the woman. Think about it. You're pregnant. You must do it. Because you need big families. So in other words, this isn't Victorian England. That's why I said that. This is ancient history. They do things differently than we do, and this is what is happening. There'll be. I guess I'll just stop and say there are two things going on. There's the real stuff that's going on, the story, right, with Naomi and Ruth and Boaz and all that. And there's a little conniving going on, setting up. All that. We all know, the women know what needs to happen. Boaz doesn't yet, but the women do, right? So they're orchestrating this story, right? They're orchestrating it, right? And the writers know this. And then they're going to ask another question by the time we get to the end of this book. They're going to ask, where is God in all this? Is God in the conniving somehow too? Not that God's a conniver, but does God work with conniving? Jacob Jacob and Esau? That story? Is God involved in that somehow? Does God's story move, even though the participants are less than perfect or holy? You know, does the story move? Even if the people are not, what? Totally righteous. Is that possible?
Well, there are no totally.
Abraham, Moses. I mean, who do you want to pick? St. Paul.
But
They're all
totally
terribly
righteous.
flawed. Right?
Yeah.
In the Bible, over and over and over, while we're reading it, looking over your shoulder like this and says, we know you're not perfect either. The reader, the hearer, we know you're not perfect either. But you can still be the story. God's story can move forward even though you're less than perfect too. Right? It's not a sterile book. It's going now too, right? It's even today with all this crap going on above us. But you know, it's imperfect, but God can work with the imperfect and move it forward, even with us. It's true, right? It's good. It's really good news for every person. Right? In fact, it's the perfect ones in Jesus' day. It's the perfect ones in Jesus' day who do what? The Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, the priests. What's their contribution? They crucified Jesus. So there's the other side of it. You want to be perfect? Terrific. You just killed Jesus. Yeah. All right. We're almost done. I can tell they're hammering. So he's going to take care of his feet. Okay. What about 6 through, is it 13? 13? Starting to be able to see with these glasses. 2 weeks. 6 through 13, can anybody?
So she went down to the threshing floor and did just as her mother-in-law had instructed her. When Boaz had eaten and drunk, and he was in a contented mood, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. Then she came stealthily and uncovered his feet and lay down. At midnight, the man was startled, turned over, and there, lying at his feet, was a woman. He said, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your cloak over your servant, for you are next of kin." He said, "May you be blessed by the Lord, my daughter. This last instance of your loyalty is better than the first.
Excuse me.
You have not gone after no kin, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not be afraid, for I will do for you all that you ask. All the assembly of my people know that you are a worthy woman. But now, though it is true that I am a near kinsman, there is another kinsman more closely related than I. Remain this night, and in the morning, if he will act as next of kin for you, good, let him do it. If he is not willing to act as next of kin for you, then, as the Lord lives, I will act as next of kin for you." lie down until the morning. He had a plan too.
Isn't it interesting? You know, we make decisions throughout our lives. Maybe God is in it somehow, in some strange way. You know? Some strange way. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we can say Naomi was a smart woman. Very intelligent woman.
Yeah, she saw all
She knew
the.
what to do.
Yeah, she saw all the pieces. She saw the board. She saw the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe God is counting on us to see the board, or counting on us to figure things out. That's the other side of it too. Maybe God is not moving the chess pieces around. He's hoping that we will. As I said before, if this doesn't work, we're not sitting here. Literally, we are not sitting here. This building's not here. The guys on the roof are not here. If this doesn't happen, right? I mean, it's a big moment for all of us that this happens, and that it happened. So, I wonder why there aren't more churches called St. Naomi. Because she's a pivotal person. Ruth is too, St. Ruth, St. Naomi. It would be appropriate, I think. All right, why don't we finish it out and, right, it'll get very quiet now that it's lunchtime. 14 through the end. Let's take a look.
So she lay at his feet until morning, but got up before one person could recognize another. For he said, "It must not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." Then he said, "Bring the cloak you are wearing and hold it out." So she held it, and he measured out 6 measures of barley and put it on her back. Then he went into the city. She came to her mother-in-law, who said, "How did things go with you, my daughter?" Then she told her all that the man had done for her, saying, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, for he said, 'Do not go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" She replied, "Wait, my daughter, until you learn how the matter turns out, for the man will not rest, but will settle the matter today."
I have a question. She had his cloak, right? Yeah, she had the cloak they're talking about that he put the barley in was his cloak, but she had taken off his feet or something. Didn't he give her his cloak? Or did I not?
You are wearing.
not get that?
Hold it out.
Bring the cloak you are wearing.
I kind of thought it was hers.
Okay.
Yes, her.
But Ruth lied.
No.
Say more.
I know where you're confused, Helen, because it's
What? There's
It's a
something,
very-
I don't know where I got
it's-
that idea.
3:9. He said, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your cloak over your servant."
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's
So
what
maybe
I
it is
thought
his.
he had on his cloak.
Right, okay. Good
And
one.
then I'm wondering why he put the barley in it and said to put it on her back. Was that to keep people from knowing that she was in the threshing
I do believe-
floor?
Right.
I do believe that.
Because he said nobody should
Right.
know that a woman was in here.
Well,
So,
yeah, well.
so it looked like she had been in there doing
Yeah,
the barley
right.
thing and was leaving with.
Because by rights, she needs to go to this other person
Right.
first.
Right.
So the other person can't know that she was
Okay.
with Boaz
Alright.
first with his feet.
And then she tells him, yeah, is that what you were
Well,
saying?
when
She
she
lied?
said, do not go back to your
Yeah.
mother-in-law empty-handed, he didn't say that.
No. Unless she left it out.
Usually they don't leave it out.
They don't.
No.
Right. So why do you think? Why is that in there?
Well, they're all covering up what was done.
It's like a little TV show, right? A little drama, a TV drama.
It's a little plan.
Yeah.
They all have a plan.
But she's in on it now too.
Mhm.
She was doing everything Naomi said, now she's.
She's kind of taking the lead.
Does everyone so far know does everyone in the scene now, Boaz, Naomi, and Ruth, do all three of them now know they're in hope? They all have the same hope.
Yes.
Yes.
They all do.
For an heir.
But what's that?
For an heir. They're looking for an heir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a foreigner, this is about a foreigner. That's the key to all this, is Ruth,
And-
right?
Yeah, and also, it's like, it's good for all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boaz included, because
Yes.
if he's never been married, he has no sons.
Right.
Now, he might have a child.
He's going to. Yeah, we'll
Well,
find
but
out.
I mean, he doesn't know that.
Doesn't
but-
know that, right, yeah.
But it's.
She's young.
It's advantageous for him too.
Yes, it is. It is. And it's advantageous for the world. Right? This has got to work. It's like they're all kind of plotting toward the same end, you know? But it's this little Moabitess girl that's going to make it happen. Without her, there's no story. Right? All right, so, but there's a little hitch, right? There's a little legal hitch. This other person has to sign off on the deal. Right. You want to read it? We got time. 4:1-6.
No sooner had Boaz gone up to the gate and sat down there, than the next of kin, of whom Boaz had spoken, came passing by. So Boaz said, "Come over, friend, sit down here." And he went over and sat down. Then Boaz took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, "Sit down here." So they sat down. He then said to the next of kin, "Naomi, who has come back from the country of Moab, is selling the parcel of land that belonged to our kinsman Elimelech. So I thought I would tell you of it and say, buy it in the presence of those sitting here, and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, but if you will not, tell me, so that I may know, for there is no one prior to you to redeem it, and I come after you." So he said, "I will redeem it." Then Boaz said, "The day you acquire the field from the hand of Naomi, you are also acquiring Ruth, the Moabite, the widow of the dead man, to maintain the dead man's name on his inheritance." At this, the next of kin said, "I cannot redeem it for myself without damaging my own inheritance. Take my right of redemption yourself, for I cannot redeem it."
You get land and a woman. Do we know the name of the kinsman?
No,
No.
so he's not important.
Not important. If you don't have a name in the Bible, you're not that important.
Well, I would say that Naomi knew Boaz pretty well when she told her, the daughter at the end of the other, the man will not rest, but will settle that matter today. And sure enough,
Yeah,
that's exactly what he did. He was
Must have been some night.
settling up, yeah.
Boaz was just as anxious to.
Yeah.
Settle, he
But I'm just wondering, who could be a closer relative to Ruth? To Naomi.
Maybe it was older. Maybe Boaz and this other kinsman were uncles. And this one was the older of the two,
No.
maybe, something like that.
Do you think Boaz set it up with this because he really thought he would not go for her and he wanted her?
Oh, yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, he brings 10 other guys as witnesses.
Yeah.
He's gonna,
Maybe the kinsman, unnamed kinsman, didn't want a Moabite.
right,
Could
right,
be thinking.
Absolutely.
Because as soon as he said she's a Moabite, he said, oh,
right,
no.
right,
And
very good, yeah.
Not me.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's part of
It's
it,
gonna
yeah.
interfere with my.
Yeah, she's gonna pollute this foreigner's gonna pollute the, right, yeah.
I wonder why he would be losing his inheritance.
Yeah,
He must have, I mean, why would that must be another rule that we don't know.
could it have something to do with the fact that Ruth was not Jewish?
I cannot redeem it for myself without damaging
Ruth was
my
part of the
own
bargain.
inheritance.
I don't know.
You just
So
thought-
I don't
that's
know, but
just kind of an
something's-
odd thing to happen,
Uh-huh.
but it could have been the mold.
Yeah, if I take her, I'm in trouble.
That
And as soon as
there's
he
probably
said,
someone
because
else.
as soon as he said that he's Ruth the Moabite, he said, I can't redeem it.
Yeah, this is more than I want.
Yeah.
And Boaz says, yes.
I set that one up pretty well, didn't I? He's just whistling all the way home.
Yep. Doing a little jig.
Yeah, the old Moabitess, yeah, she's a real problem. He's already met the Moabitess. Yeah.
It's interesting to me that they introduce this other person later on, and you don't know from the beginning that there is another person that might have some effect on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You find it at this point. It's an interesting storytelling device, I guess.
Yeah.
And Naomi should have known that, right?
I
I would think she would
imagine
have
she
known
would.
that there was another.
I mean, she's not know who her kinsmen are, her relatives.
But she wanted Boaz.
Yeah.
You wanted Boaz for sure. So
He
you're
was
gonna go to the threshing floor and take care of his feet and seal this deal. Because we know Harry over here too is, a mess. And, he's not the one. Boaz is the one. Have you ever gotten to the place of sealing a deal and it all blows up?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. You get right to the edge. That's what you were saying. I think this is a literary device. Otherwise, it's a little too smooth.
I just think Naomi was so conniving, and at the beginning of the story, she said, no, go back to your people, to Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
And Ruth was the one who insisted on staying with Naomi, so Naomi got lucky in that regard, and then she sort of took over all these shenanigans.
But it was her, she was the native there that could take over. I mean, I would think, if,
Yeah, but I mean, like, Naomi seemed like a good woman at the beginning.
Yeah.
Here, she's got all these things going on in her mind.
I think that was good. I think she was a good woman. That would negate her goodness to want the best for her.
Well, I don't think she was so conniving at the beginning.
Oh, come on, Carol. Oh, women are a little conniving. Yeah, of course.
But I'm just wondering if, I don't know whether you were alluding to this or not, but is God behind all this?
Well, that's what I'm asking. I think the writers are asking this.
Exactly.
Yeah, the writers are asking this, I think,
I'm
too.
wondering this, I mean, yeah, this this woman says, let's do this, and they connive, and they, but is God really
Right.
directing
I-
all of this?
I think that's a
And
question.
To the conniving
Yeah.
and the decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think, I kind of have that feeling. that
Yeah.
God is
Okay.
directing.
I
Yeah.
don't see that they're doing anything bad. I mean, what's wrong with what they're doing, actually? The two of them, obviously, Boaz and Ruth, had kind of fallen for each other.
No question about
I
it.
mean, this is a love story.
It is definitely a love
I
story.
think it's a great story.
It's a love story.
Read this in February again for Valentine's Day.
We'll do a series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy fell for her, and that's what guys do.
We're-
Right? We,
Yes.
Perhaps he
if you
was
fall,
looking,
you fall.
he was looking for God's action. I mean, she was, Naomi.
Say it again.
Naomi said to Ruth to go and get dressed instead of his
Yeah, yeah.
feet and all of that.
Yeah.
But she didn't know for sure what Boaz would do. She was leaving that open to God. Whatever happened, happened.
Yeah.
So isn't that leaving it open to God?
Don't you sometimes have that same feeling? Well, just leave it up to God. 'cause
Yeah, well, you can't do it.
You can set it up, but you
can
can't
s-
make it work.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think they were all good people. I don't think that it was conniving, but it wasn't bad. Good for her.
I don't mean that Naomi was a bad person.
No.
I just think she even changed her name to Bitter because she felt life had dealt her a bad
Yeah.
hand
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
in cards, you know, and but then once Ruth insisted on going with her, she said, "Oh, girls work for me."
Yeah, how are we gonna make this work? For all of us. Yeah,
She
sure.
had a plan. She devised a plan.
And remember,
And it worked.
yeah, it did.
So it's really advantageous for all parties.
Yeah, they all win. They all win. And remember, Naomi's husband died. Both of her sons died. This story is born out of grief. Terrible grief and fear. Fear.
Love redeems that
Well-
with Naomi and Ruth.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yes.
Ruth loved Naomi so much
Yeah.
that she went with her.
Yes.
And then Naomi loved her so much that she made a plan for her, and it's been, so it
Again.
redemption,
Yeah.
loves,
That's right.
love wins.
I think so. I think so. It's a funny little book, isn't it? Huh?
I don't know whether to say this or not, but I keep thinking, I have been thinking for the last few days, and this is making me think. With respect to the election, God's will for this country?
No.
Well, I'm thinking that.
It's a good question. It's a good
But
question,
it is a good
right?
question,
I'm
and
thinking farther
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
that, like some, the story of civilization is that
countries
countries have risen.
They
over
rise
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
fall.
Yeah.
Rising.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong, I don't want America to fall.
Right.
I don't, as I said yesterday, I'm not going to vote for Trump. But is this, his having so much support as he does, and, is this like part of God's plan that maybe
It's a good question.
it's time for America? I mean, I think he'll bring it down. Is that what's supposed to be happening?
Yeah, on our watch.
History of civilization. I'm not saying I want it to. I would like it to.
Well, but I can can see, and from what I can hear and glean, many of those evangelical church have this in their heads, that God is using Trump
Yes, oh, yeah.
do so, and,
But what they have in their heads is that God is using Trump to get the country back into a good place.
but that may be
That
wrong
might-
thinking.
may not
I
be,
think
yes,
that's wrong
I think-
thinking.
God is
It's
using a
gonna
bad
strike
man.
me as a
You hear
very
that?
bad.
That is
You
what
hear that all the
I
time.
Rather than before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did
That's it.
anybody happen to watch CNN on Sunday night? When it, well, I think it was, no, it wasn't. No, it was MSNBC. Anyway, there is this group of, it's a religious, one of those that believe that Jesus, they are warriors for Jesus, and they have these, and they use, did anybody else see that? They have these, the leader of this thing has a crown of bullets around, or no.
oh, yeah, I believe that.
And they all have these AR-15s, or whatever you call them, the military guns. And they are working, and they're warriors, and they're part of one of these evangelical groups.
Right.
But they have decided to be warriors, that they have been called to be warriors for Jesus. And they're in this tent, and they have a golden AR-15 on their altar.
Oh, my gosh.
And they have pictures of it, and the guys were talking about it. And then Michael Flynn, who was Trump's guy, and he's going to
Security.
be back, and he's a military guy.
You went there and bust them.
He is going to win this battle. I mean, they're making a plan, and I am very afraid. I'm very afraid of what is going to happen in this country.
And
Because
And with all this talking now about it, I just want to believe that God is in control of what's
Yeah.
going on.
Oh, we always say
And even if,
That's all we
I hate
can
to
do.
say it, that even if for this time, the things are not good, going to be good for us. Is that part of his plan? You know, that he seems to work in that way of, you know, up and down, up and down. I mean, you know, we've been up.
Well, you don't want to recommend it.
No, I don't even like the fact that this has been coming to me in the last few days.
I don't think it's gonna be good no matter who wins.
No, I think there's going to be a problem either way, and it may be worse if he does. I mean, it's going to be worse for the country forever. We will never have a democracy if he gets in there, because they have, talk about a plan, they really have a plan. So whatever happens, we need to keep him out, keep him away if we want to have a democratic country.
It's okay, it's gonna.
So I
best.
think, yeah, but if Trump wins, I will say, no, I will never believe God would choose a person like that. Unless, I
In
mean,
the
he has
long
no
term,
redemption in
in the
him.
long term, no.
There's gotta be a
We
lesson
won't be
here.
around in
Yeah, well, we have a world of a long time with that finger on the button.
I guess what I'm trying to say
I understand.
is his God's goal is to bring his kingdom into power. How he chooses to do that has been odd, because as we look back, we see this rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. Are we going to be part of that rise and fall that ultimately will end in his bringing his kingdom to?
Well, does,
But I don't think God's kingdom has anything to do with power as we understand it, as we use it.
Think climate change.
I have to think more about this.
Yeah, the power, political power with human history, it has nothing to do with the kingdom of God and how it exerts its goals and objectives. See the guys with the AR-15s. The guy with the evangelicals with the AR-15s,
Oh, they are.
and also the Christian nationalists
Yeah.
see the kingdom of God, the power within the kingdom of God is the same kind of power, coercive,
Yes.
military, violent, as every other nation, nearly every other nation that's ever been on.
You know what? If Kamala Harris wins, I probably will say thank you, God, and I will give praise to
Yes,
God
yes,
all day and
yes.
all night. But
It's,
I can actually, if anybody, and I've asked people all the time and I never get an answer, does anybody have any idea of what will make this country better if that guy gets in? Because he has no plan. He doesn't even know how to run the government. We know that. But his plan is to do exactly what he did before, but without anybody telling him he can't. And it's rounding up people and detention. Going in your maybe neighbor's house and taking that family out because maybe they don't have anybody. I mean, could this even remotely be God's kingdom that we were working toward? I mean, I don't think so.
well,
You know.
Helen, keep in mind that it's not just the president, we've got Congress,
Yeah.
representatives, and
But he can murder all of them.
Yes,
Well,
that's right.
it doesn't, like the Republicans
Well, not all.
well, publicly, they're pretty much in lockstep with him. There's a few, like Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney, that broke with him, but publicly, I'd say most of them are in lockstep. I hope that they secretly vote
There's
against
a group
Trump.
of Republicans
Well-
that work with him that do not want to.
Well, there's a bunch of them, man.
Yeah, there's a big group.
There's nobody from his cabinet. I mean, he turned
But
on
he's
them
got
and
these people, his base, and then there's these people. Everybody's unhappy about the price of gasoline. That's all they can think about. They can't think about the bigger picture of what kind of country you're gonna be living in if Trump.
And
takes
they
over.
also can't think or realize that he can't do anything about that price of gasoline either. It's not, the president doesn't set the price of gasoline. We can pump it out ourselves and,
I think that for his base.
yeah.
Right. Oh,
They
people.
are gonna, they're the ones that would hurt.
Right. Well, people have said to me, Trump.
I said his base.
Right.
His base are uneducated people,
Well,
and he likes that.
He loves it.
He likes that they don't know.
Yeah.
well, I've said that. I've
They're the
heard
ones that are gonna hurt.
exactly. I mean, this is, people have said that to me who are real Trumpers and blah blah blah. And I would say to them, Trump's working for me, not for you.
Right.
If you have any money at all, he's working for you, not
You
you.
need to go
You know?
to a pair of sneakers or something.
$100,000 one
I
time.
know.
But I
Did you
can't
see
see
the
that God's plan.
fish?
If that is a way.
Oh, the fish.
You know what I'm talking about?
Well, this was fun. Now, we're just horrible.
why did we start that?
2 weeks and we'll know.
We almost got through with the sending of a salvo. But it is the idea of, is God involved in the action of human beings? And that's what we're
And
talking about.
I'm leaving now.
This is our time,
because
so
evangelicals
it's God involved in
are
this.
not
next week we'll be
I
able.
won't be here, so you can have a quiet, nice.
It's all blue stuff.
Well, next week, yeah, you brought it up.
We can have a good time, talking.
Okay, next week we'll finish. I mean, there's only 5 of you. Next week we'll finish up the Book of Ruth. This has been, we'll finish up the Book of Ruth next week.
Okay.
And then,
If we can hear.
but then, yeah, no, you won't, because this will be over.
This will be young.
So, hang on, can I finish this statement? I've put in the calendar 6 weeks for this Bible study.
Right,
We will finish
right.
So, we can be done after 4 weeks, that's fine, if that's your wish. Or we could do something else for 2 weeks.
What's short?
Well, Timothy, Titus, Philemon, 1 John, 2 John, 3rd
What about us or prophets?
Well, or some old prophets, Amos,
Or just part of something else.
yeah, or a piece of something.
Piece.
Yeah. Well, think about it, and we'll toss it around next week and see if you want to, go further, and what do you want to do? Okay, is that fair?
Sounds
Okay, good.
good. Very good.
Well, this was